Today, I want to tell you something about English that nobody else will tell you. Just be with me on this journey as I reveal how I went from not knowing a single word to speaking English fluently. My journey wasn't easy, but it was one of the most rewarding adventures of my life. So, let's go back to where it all began. There was a man named Arjun. He was from a small town and had always dreamed of traveling to places where English was the primary language. But there was one problem. He barely knew any English. He'd learned a few words in school, but speaking confidently, that seemed like an impossible dream. He felt embarrassed every time he tried to speak, afraid people would laugh. One day, Arjun decided enough was enough. He wanted a better life, and he knew that learning English could open up opportunities he could only dream of. So, he packed up and decided to move to a city known for its vibrant language schools, determined to master English no matter what it took. The first day in the city was overwhelming. Everything around him was in English. Signs, conversations, even the simplest directions were difficult to follow. But he took this as motivation rather than a setback. Arjun walked through the bustling streets, observing how everyone seemed so comfortable with the language. He told himself, "One day, I'll be just as comfortable with English as they are." He enrolled in a language school and met his English teacher, Mr. Williams, a man with an infectious enthusiasm for teaching. Mr. Williams didn't just teach grammar and vocabulary. He shared real-life tips, encouraging students to speak with confidence. He once said to Arjun, "It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. English is not about perfection, it's about connection." Arjun realized that learning English wasn't just about sitting in a classroom. To truly get better, he had to practice speaking with people. At first, he was nervous. Making friends in a foreign language felt daunting, but he remembered Mr. Williams's words, "Don't worry about mistakes." Slowly, he started talking to his classmates and even joined local events where he could meet native English speakers. He learned phrases and expressions that made conversations flow naturally. When he felt insecure, he'd ask questions or share something he was curious about, which helped him become more open and relaxed. Through these interactions, Arjun found that many people admired his courage. He made friends who encouraged him, and he realized that his accent and small mistakes didn't matter as much as he had thought. People appreciated his efforts, and that boosted his confidence. But life wasn't just about learning English. Arjun also had financial struggles. Living in a new city wasn't cheap, and he quickly found himself running low on money. To support himself, he took on part-time jobs. His work brought him into constant contact with native speakers, which, in itself, became a unique classroom. In one job, he worked in a small cafe where he had to speak English every day. Customers would come in, placing orders, making small talk, and sharing stories. At first, Arjun found it difficult to keep up, but slowly, he learned the common phrases, the polite expressions, and even the way people joked. It was in these interactions that he learned more than any classroom could teach him. One evening, a regular customer noticed him struggling and offered some advice. She said, "Arjun, the best way to learn is to listen. Don't focus too much on every single word. Listen to the flow, the rhythm. Over time, your mind will pick up on the patterns." This advice stuck with him, and he began focusing on listening carefully, understanding the natural flow of the language. As Arjun became more comfortable, he found himself eager to practice speaking even more. He spent time repeating sentences and imitating the way his English-speaking friends talked. He realized that fluency wasn't about memorizing phrases, it was about feeling the language. One day he stood in front of a mirror and started talking to himself in English. At first he felt silly, but with time this practice helped him gain confidence in his pronunciation. He recorded his voice, listened back, and tried to sound as natural as possible. It was hard work, but he noticed progress, little by little. His sentences flowed more smoothly, and his confidence grew. Arjun realized that learning English was about much more than just speaking correctly. He found joy in reading books, watching movies, and listening to music in English. He started with simple stories, repeating the lines until he could understand them without translating. Then he'd watch his favorite movies with English subtitles, absorbing the expressions, the idioms, and the way people naturally spoke. He was amazed at how much he was learning without even trying. Every story he read, every song he listened to, and every show he watched was expanding his vocabulary and understanding of English in ways that textbooks never could. Arjun's journey to learn English was long and challenging, filled with ups and downs, but he never stopped pushing forward. He realized that English wasn't something he would ever fully finish learning. It was a lifelong journey. Every day he discovered something new, be it a new word, an interesting phrase, or an aspect of culture that enriched his understanding of the language. So where were we? Yes. Arjun was embracing English from every angle, and with each day his confidence grew. But he was about to discover even more secrets, those special techniques that changed the way he learned. One afternoon, his teacher, Mr. Williams, encouraged him to join an English-speaking club. "This is the real deal," Mr. Williams told him with a grin. "You'll meet people from all walks of life, all learning English. It's like a boot camp, but with laughter, friendship, and sometimes even competition." Arjun nervously attended his first club meeting. At first, he felt shy, but he noticed everyone there had the same goal. They all stumbled through sentences, laughed at their mistakes, and encouraged each other. They practiced role-playing scenarios, ordering food, introducing themselves, debating over silly topics, and even pretending they were on a job interview. Arjun found this incredibly exciting. In the club, no one judged him. They even had a language challenge each week, like using 5 new idioms in daily conversation. And yes, Arjun won the prize one week with phrases like piece of cake and break the ice. Mr. Williams also introduced Arjun to a powerful technique, visualization. "Imagine yourself speaking English fluently," Mr. Williams said. "See yourself in the situations you dream about, confidently talking to people." Every night, Arjun would close his eyes and visualize himself speaking English perfectly. He imagined himself traveling, having deep conversations, and even giving speeches. This exercise was a game changer. His mind began to accept that fluency was possible. One weekend, Arjun decided to explore the city on his own. Unfortunately, he got completely lost. He didn't have a map, and his phone battery had died. Panic set in, but then he took a deep breath and thought, "This is my chance to use my English." Arjun approached a stranger and asked for directions, trying his best to keep his words clear. The stranger smiled and gave him simple directions, even complimenting his English. Arjun thanked him and followed the directions confidently. This experience made him realize something important. Speaking English wasn't just about words. It was about connecting, even in unexpected situations. A friend from the English club recommended Arjun to try watching his favorite English shows without subtitles. At first, it was overwhelming. He only caught every few words, and sometimes he'd rewind multiple times to understand. But over time, he became more comfortable with the flow of English, the natural pauses, and the emotions conveyed through intonation. One evening, he caught himself laughing at a joke on a show, in real time, without subtitles. He felt a thrill, realizing he was actually understanding English like never before. Arjun wasn't immune to setbacks. He applied for a few part-time jobs to practice his English, but he faced rejection. Once, during an interview, he froze, unable to remember certain words, and he was politely turned down. This was a heavy blow to his confidence, but he refused to let it break him. He remembered Mr. Williams's words, "Confidence isn't about always succeeding. It's about not giving up." Arjun practiced interview questions at home, speaking in front of the mirror until his responses felt natural. A week later, he landed a job at a local bookstore. This job helped him practice conversational English with customers daily and boosted his confidence. One evening, Arjun met Lisa, a writer and language coach who'd recently published a book on learning languages quickly. Lisa had a unique way of explaining things and encouraged Arjun to think in English. She told him, "When you translate everything from your native language, it slows you down. Practice thinking directly in English, even for simple things, like, 'I'll make tea,' or 'I'll go to the store.' It helps you get comfortable with the language in your mind." Lisa taught him about the shadowing technique, where he'd listen to a sentence and repeat it immediately. This practice helped with pronunciation, rhythm, and sentence structure. Arjun shadowed podcasts, videos, and even Lisa's audiobooks. Soon he noticed his speaking had a more natural flow. Arjun found that his best lessons often came from mistakes. One time, he accidentally used an embarrassing word because it sounded similar to what he meant. His friends laughed, but they explained the correct word, and they all had a good laugh about it. Instead of feeling embarrassed, Arjun started viewing mistakes as funny stories he'd tell later. This new perspective gave him the courage to keep trying, even when he stumbled. Another friend from the club introduced Arjun to an English-speaking pen pal. They wrote to each other every week, and this helped Arjun learn how to express himself in writing. Through emails, he learned vocabulary and grammar and also got a peek into another person's life, culture, and perspective. His pen pal even recommended that he start a small journal in English. Arjun began writing short entries each day about his thoughts, experiences, and goals. This habit of journaling became therapeutic, helping him process his day and see his own progress in English. Months later, Arjun's English club hosted a small event where members were encouraged to share their learning experiences. It was a big deal, as Arjun had to speak in front of everyone. Nervously, he walked to the front of the room and began to share his journey, how he'd been terrified to speak at first, his struggles with rejection, and the friends and mentors who'd helped him along the way. As he spoke, he noticed heads nodding and smiles of encouragement. He realized that he was speaking fluently, without even thinking about it. When he finished, the room erupted in applause. It was one of the proudest moments of his life. Secrets of Success in English. In the early days of his journey, Arjun realized that English wasn't just about learning words. It was about believing he could learn. His teacher, Mr. Williams, always reminded him, "Your mind is your greatest tool." With that in mind, Arjun started practicing affirmations every morning, repeating, "I am an English speaker." This changed his mindset, turning English from a foreign skill into something he was a part of. One of Arjun's biggest challenges was making friends in his new world, and he knew he needed to connect in English. At first, he was scared, but then he discovered a trick: ask questions. Instead of talking about himself, he asked others about their lives, hobbies, and favorite places. This approach not only helped him make friends, but he also learned a lot of informal English. He even made a friend who spoke slang, which made Arjun feel like he finally understood the real English. While improving his English, Arjun noticed something interesting. Body language could say just as much as words. He realized that English speakers often used gestures, facial expressions, and pauses to emphasize their points. Observing these cues taught him the hidden language that made him appear more fluent. Now, when he spoke, he used his hands and expressions more, which made his conversations feel natural and engaging. One day, Mr. Williams invited Arjun to an English cultural festival. Here, Arjun tasted traditional foods, listened to music, and even joined a group dance. Understanding the culture helped him relate better to native speakers and brought him closer to the language. He realized that English wasn't just a subject. It was a bridge to connecting with new cultures and people. A few months into his learning, Arjun had an idea. What if he could teach others English? He found a small group of beginners in his neighborhood who were also trying to learn. He organized weekly meetings, and by explaining concepts to them, his own understanding deepened. Teaching forced him to clarify ideas, helping him become more fluent. Plus, his confidence grew immensely as he guided others, transforming him into a mini English coach. Arjun soon realized that he wanted to master English, not just for daily use, but for speaking in front of people. He signed up for a local public speaking workshop. At first, standing in front of a crowd made him freeze, but he discovered a secret: slow down and smile. By taking his time and smiling at the audience, he felt more in control. He practiced starting his speeches with jokes or questions, instantly connecting with the audience. This taught him how powerful public speaking could be in boosting his English skills and his self-confidence. One day, Arjun's friend challenged him to tell a story in English. Nervous but excited, Arjun began narrating a funny story about his hometown, using expressions, humor, and emotions. The laughter and engagement of his friends gave him a thrill. He realized storytelling was a powerful tool. It helped him practice English while connecting with people on a deeper level. Now, he often told stories, using them to practice new phrases and slang in an enjoyable way. Mr. Williams shared another secret technique with Arjun: active listening. Instead of just hearing words, Arjun started focusing on tone, intonation, and pauses when people spoke. He paid attention to their choice of words and their emotions. Active listening helped him pick up the rhythm of English and made conversations more meaningful. He practiced repeating what he heard in his head, reinforcing his understanding of sentence structures and new vocabulary. To improve his pronunciation, Arjun turned to English songs. He would choose his favorite song, listen to the lyrics, and sing along. This way, he practiced pronunciation in a relaxed, enjoyable way. Slowly, he noticed his accent improving, and he felt more comfortable with English sounds. Singing also improved his fluency, as he became accustomed to speaking at a natural pace. He even impressed his friends by singing at karaoke night. An unexpected tip from his English club was joining an improv class. Improv was a form of acting where there was no script, only spontaneous responses. This activity pushed Arjun to think quickly in English, reacting on the spot. Though challenging, improv boosted his creativity and ability to respond naturally, a skill that took his fluency to another level. Arjun found audiobooks and podcasts in English that talked about topics he loved, like travel and self-improvement. He'd listen to them during walks or before bed. Hearing stories in fluent English became a regular part of his day, and he noticed it helped improve his understanding and vocabulary. Sometimes he'd shadow the speakers, repeating what they said, which helped him mimic native pronunciation and intonation. To keep himself motivated, Arjun created a vision board with his English goals. He pasted pictures of places he wanted to visit, quotes in English, and even a photo of a microphone to symbolize public speaking. Every morning he looked at his board and reminded himself why he was learning English. This visualization practice kept his passion alive and pushed him through tough days. Arjun enjoyed cooking, so he started watching English cooking shows and following English recipes. Cooking while listening to English instructions made him learn practical terms and measurements. He practiced speaking by explaining his dishes in English, which helped him improve his descriptive skills. Eager to practice with people from around the world, Arjun joined online language exchange platforms. Here he'd talk to native speakers who wanted to learn his language in exchange for helping him practice English. These conversations were real, spontaneous, and gave him exposure to different English dialects. This experience taught him about accents, cultural nuances, and slang, which made him feel more like a world citizen. One of the best discoveries was humor. Arjun started watching English comedy shows and learned how to make jokes in English. He realized that understanding humor was a huge milestone. It meant he understood cultural references, wordplay, and timing. By sharing jokes and laughing along with his friends, he felt more integrated into English culture. Humor became his secret weapon, helping him relax and build strong connections with others. Finally, Arjun joined a debate club to push his English skills even further. Debating forced him to express his opinions clearly, use persuasive language, and listen actively to opposing arguments. He found this challenging but rewarding. Debating in English helped him develop critical thinking and confidence, making him feel unstoppable. Discovering the meaning of fluency. As Arjun progressed, he often wondered, what is fluency? Mr. Williams explained, fluency isn't about knowing every word, it's about flow, your comfort with the language. Arjun learned that fluency didn't mean speaking without pause or using fancy words. Instead, it was about expressing himself with confidence and connecting his thoughts naturally. It was this freedom that made him feel at ease with English. As he practiced English, Arjun met people from different countries and backgrounds. Each new friend had a story, a unique way of speaking, and different phrases they used. These interactions opened Arjun's eyes to the many flavors of English. He met a kind barista who taught him phrases like, "take it easy," and a traveler who introduced him to idioms like, "hit the road." These exchanges made him realize that English was a living, evolving language that changed with each person he met. In his daily conversations, Arjun often found himself discussing topics like dreams, challenges, and personal growth. One of his friends, Mia, shared her own journey of learning English, emphasizing patience and resilience. "Language is just like life," she said. You need to give yourself time and forgive your mistakes. This advice resonated with Arjun, and he realized that mastering English was similar to mastering anything in life. It took practice, dedication, and self-compassion. Arjun's journey also taught him the importance of making choices that aligned with his dreams. With better English skills, he found a part-time job where he could speak English every day, which was both exciting and challenging. While this meant less free time, he felt proud, knowing he was investing in his future. Through these choices, he learned that every decision brought him closer to his goal and shaped the path ahead. One evening, Arjun attended an open mic event. Although he felt nervous, he decided to share a story in English about his journey. As he spoke, he felt a new level of confidence. This experience showed him that fluency wasn't just about language. It was about finding his voice and sharing his unique story. This feeling of self-expression was incredibly empowering, and he realized he wanted to use English to inspire others as well. Arjun also explored cultural traditions and celebrations in English-speaking communities. When he celebrated Thanksgiving with his friends, he learned about gratitude and the importance of connecting with others. They shared stories, exchanged jokes, and expressed thanks, which made Arjun realize that language could bring people together in meaningful ways. In his journey, Arjun also discovered the social side of English. Small talk, which once felt strange, became a way to break the ice. He learned to greet others, ask simple questions, and keep conversations light before diving deeper. Slowly, he built strong friendships, and English became the bridge that connected him to people's hearts and lives. Arjun's friends taught him storytelling tricks that made his English more engaging. He learned how to paint a picture with words, using descriptive language and expressing emotions. His friend Sarah, a natural storyteller, told him, "When you tell a story, let people see it in their minds." Arjun practiced this skill, learning to describe not just facts, but feelings, colors, and sounds. This made his English more expressive and brought his stories to life. Throughout his journey, Arjun had to face many fears: public speaking, new social situations, and even trying to crack jokes in English. Each challenge made him braver, and over time he felt more confident with his English. This courage extended beyond language and affected his entire life, teaching him that facing fears was the fastest way to grow. To expand his vocabulary, Arjun started a word-of-the-day practice, choosing a new word each morning and using it in sentences throughout the day. This simple habit made learning enjoyable, and each word felt like a new tool in his English toolbox. Whether it was a playful word like serendipity or a practical one like prioritize, every word became a step toward fluency. Arjun was lucky to meet inspiring mentors along the way, people who encouraged him to keep going. His teacher, Mr. Williams, became more than a language instructor. He was a life mentor. Mr. Williams often shared his own experiences, motivating Arjun to see learning as a journey, not a destination. He told Arjun, "English will open doors for you, but it's your passion and purpose that will define your success." One of Arjun's biggest discoveries was the joy of reading in English. At first, he found novels intimidating, but he began with simple books and stories. He realized that literature was a treasure trove of vocabulary, emotions, and culture. Eventually, reading became his favorite way to practice, and he even found himself lost in English novels for hours. Each story expanded his imagination and deepened his connection with the language. To practice his English, Arjun began writing a personal journal in English. This private space allowed him to express his thoughts, goals, and reflections without pressure. Writing in English helped him organize his ideas, work through his emotions, and see his progress over time. His journal became a record of his growth and a reminder of how far he'd come. Arjun's journey wasn't easy, and he faced many setbacks. Some days he struggled to find the right words or felt discouraged by his mistakes. But each setback taught him resilience. He learned to embrace imperfections and treat each mistake as a stepping stone. This resilience helped him stay motivated and keep going, even on tough days. Arjun practiced shadowing, a technique where he repeated sentences immediately after hearing them. This exercise helped him mimic native pronunciation, improve his accent, and get comfortable with the rhythm of English. Shadowing taught him how to sound natural and helped him pick up subtle intonations and pauses. Arjun learned the importance of creating a positive environment for his studies. He filled his room with inspirational quotes, English books, and flashcards. He even set his phone and devices to English, surrounding himself with the language. By making his environment encouraging, he felt motivated and excited to learn every day. As he progressed, Arjun discovered the value of balancing English with his native language. He realized that both languages shaped his identity, and he didn't have to choose one over the other. This balance made him appreciate his own culture while embracing new ideas and perspectives from English. Over time, Arjun realized that English wasn't just a language, it was a gateway to countless opportunities. He started visualizing his future, better job prospects, travel experiences, and the ability to connect with people worldwide. This vision kept him motivated and reminded him that learning English was an investment in his future. As Arjun's journey with English reached a new chapter, he realized something profound. It was never just about learning a language. It had become a journey into his own heart, his dreams, and a discovery of the world in ways he hadn't imagined. Sitting by his favorite spot by the river, Arjun thought back on everything he'd been through, the challenges, the triumphs, and, most importantly, the person he had become. Arjun had faced more than his share of setbacks, and he saw now that each one had taught him resilience and patience. There were days he felt like giving up, when the words didn't come out right, or when he felt misunderstood. But each of these moments was a lesson in persistence, teaching him that mastery wasn't about being perfect. It was about showing up, trying again, and learning as you go. If you're on a journey, he thought, don't measure your progress by someone else's path. Move at your own pace. Every step matters, and every stumble is part of the dance. Through learning English, Arjun had built a circle of friends from all over the world. These friendships brought him laughter, support, and unforgettable memories. One of his dearest friends, Mia, had once told him, "Fluency isn't just about speaking, it's about feeling connected." Arjun knew now that being fluent didn't just mean speaking confidently, but being able to connect with others, to listen, and to share his own stories. As he grew in confidence, English became his way of building bridges with people, of understanding others in a deeper way. In many ways, English became a language of friendship, a reminder that we're all human, with hopes and dreams, fears and struggles. Looking back, Arjun felt gratitude for every small moment. His first conversation in English, his evening tea sessions with Mr. Williams, and even the solo late-night study sessions. These moments, simple as they were, had shaped him. They had taught him that learning is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. Life, he realized, was about embracing each step with gratitude, seeing every small moment as a blessing, and never taking for granted the journey we're on. In his heart, he knew he'd never forget this journey, the one that had taken him beyond language and into self-discovery. Reflecting on his story, Arjun felt as if he were speaking to an old friend, sharing his thoughts like a letter from the heart. If you're starting out, he'd say with all the warmth he felt, remember, it's okay to take your time. It's okay to struggle, to make mistakes, to feel unsure. This is what learning is all about. It's messy, it's beautiful, and it's yours. English, he'd say, is not just a language. It's a journey into new worlds and, surprisingly, into your own heart. Be kind to yourself, celebrate the little victories, and keep going. This is your story, so write it with joy. As Arjun gazed out at the sunset, he felt a deep sense of peace. English had given him a voice, a way to connect, and a path to understanding the world. More than that, it had given him a sense of purpose and belonging. His story wasn't ending, it was just beginning, with all the confidence, friendship, and love he'd gained along the way. And so, with a full heart and a hopeful spirit, Arjun looked ahead, ready for whatever came next, knowing that he'd carry these lessons with him always.